Just received an update.
It's the Think High crew, yeah.
Just received an update.
Yeah, it's the Think High crew, what up?
Just received
Yeah,
an update.
it's the Think High crew, you know.
Just received an update.
It's the Think High crew, what up? It's the Think High crew, yeah.
We may have had we may have had differences. The suppression, the use of marijuana. The suppression.
It's the Think High crew, yeah.
Think high crew, yeah, 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 think.
Solar flares, November 30th. Gonna take out everything, but I've just been notified by the
I
breaking,
just been notified.
the breakings of the world and the just ins of the world that that's not gonna happen until 2024. So does that mean January 1st, or does that
They
mean
said, psych!
like?
Psych! Nah, you thought it was happening this year? Nah, we gonna wait till next year. Don't worry, y'all.
Yeah, well,
Even though
we'll
next
just
year right around the corner. Like
we'll
they
push
said
it back.
They said it like that shit was is still another year away. Like nigga, that's fucking 30 days away.
Right. Psych.
Woman, psych your mind. No,
Psych.
those solar flares gonna take out everything. Them
Yeah,
motherfuckers, man. What the
But
fuck?
yeah, what's up,
Wednesday?
everybody? It's another WTF. What the fuck Wednesday?
We back.
With Think High Crew. You could
Like
call
we
it
never left.
Wednesday, or you could call it Wins Day.
WINS for clarification. Grand Rising Megawatt. Grand Rising Gods and Goddesses.
Good.
I know
day,
Megawatt says she might not be able to be on
humans.
too much today. So, did you want to go ahead and do some astrology or no?
Can you hear me?
I just didn't know if you know,
Yeah, that's cool.
or if you wanted to talk
Our
about.
producer did that. He was he used some scratch patterns and put them in there. But yeah, Megawatt, if you wanted to start us off, that would be cool too, since you're on
Okay.
limited time today.
Well, just getting into the holidays here.
Holy
so-
days time.
All right.
Yeah. And after you get done, if you got a chance, I just want to ask one question, and I'm gonna go ahead and ask it now. That way you can marinate on it if
Okay.
you want. Is why do we think, or why was Christmas chosen for the time it was during the winter solstice, during
peak
the
the hi-
month
the
of
peak-
winter, or
it's to
month
peak-
that was all that? So
To peak the heightened energy of the winter solstice. That's that peak energy point where the planets are in this certain pattern, certain alignment. And actually, something, I'll just go straight into it if I can.
yeah,
If you look at people who are born on Christmas, there are, in my opinion, a small percentage that are naturally born, just they end up getting here on Christmas. But a larger portion of them you'll see is induced for labor, or either really procreated to a certain point in time to which they believe the delivery will actually happen on Christmas. If you study people who have like significant charts, or people who are famous, or even in military, high rankings, presidential people, they all have ties in their family to people born on Christmas. So there's a really interesting um, pattern that's there. So
My daughter was born on the 23rd. We missed it, but
Yeah,
She's close.
it's really hard to make a baby be born on a certain day, because there's so many factors
I
that go
wasn't
into
trying.
it.
I wasn't trying for that shit. She wasn't even really, supposed to be here.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, I listened to a lady who is she's affiliated with the Eisenhower family, and that's a presidential family. She's a cousin of the brother, so a daughter of the brother of the Eisenhower, and they actually had her born on Christmas Day, 6 minutes into the new day, right on the full moon. So it's like
mm,
bam, 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 lined up. And she never asked her parents or knew until much later. She's over 60 now, where she found out that they actually, took her to the hospital in California and birthed her at that time for that exact reason.
Interesting.
Yeah.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Interesting.
There's
And a lot of it ties to hospitals in California, or hospitals in places that are they're conducting more of an experimental thing. It's not like it's like your university hospitals and your associated hospitals with colleges and higher education. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you because today and like pretty much just the rest of this month, we're just going to be kind of going into these holidays and then the different religions and how they act towards these holidays. But me and Jason was talking about, well, what about like just starting at the origin of all of it and what was going on before
mhm.
people started
yeah.
celebrating this
So
quote
it's like,
unquote
what the
holiday and
fuck
why
was
was
that?
it
It's like,
picked?
what the fuck came before Christmas? You know what I mean? That definitely that'll be, pretty
Mhm.
much the origin, the main topic.
Yeah, and I've got some things I can splice in that will help that.
Awesome. Well, yeah.
So,
Then let us get us into where the stars in the planets are and why this is peak energy time, and I can go over the numbers and we can dive right into this shit.
okay. So, the moon is in Cancer now. So, you're going to be having a focus on connections with the mother, reaching out, communication with the mother, or, she may reach out to you in that kind of an aspect. You may make plans for holiday parties or get togethers or gift giving, things of that nature. Sagittarius still has a lot going on in that sign as well. Um, but it's moved out of Gemini, so that communication focus just in general is a little bit softer and more towards the mother. You can have an emphasis on the home, decorating it, making it feel more comfortable. Mood, like mood planning, also food, comfort foods is going to be essential. Just that what I would say to watch during this combination is whatever you are taking in your body, not to overdo it, because these two signs, Sag and Cancer, have a tendency to take too much in, too much, whatever the substance, alcohol, whatever that you may be doing too much. So, and you have a lot of planets also in Pisces. Pisces is another sign that tends to not be able to gauge, how much is enough. So, um, collectively, like, you're going to see that people, they still have that focus on Sag Sun, so they're going to be wanting to have fun, not follow the rules, kind of lackadaisical. They may want to take time off and just kind of laze around the house and binge watch things. And the Cancer Moon supports that. So if you have people who are tendency toward the lazy side, you'll definitely see that stuff popping up already. So that's the quick hit on the planets. Anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Okay. If you want to do the numbers
Oh yeah, I'll
really
keep
quick, I
it.
can
I'll
pull
keep
some
it brief
cards.
too. I
Yeah.
mean, because yesterday was a one, so obviously today will be a two. It's Wednesday, November the 29th. It is What the Fuck Wednesday, as we're gonna dive into the origin of what the fuck was before this holidays. What was we doing before then? And today is cooperation and diplomatic relationship type day. It'll be very effective teamwork, that is, and it's likely to get more done than just doing shit by yourself. So expect new or more attention to improving your relationships for today. The value of friendship is more likely to be noticed. If you watch anime, then you know friendship never loses. That's how they win every fight.
God, whatever.
So, so the vibe of today, obviously, is going to have some kind of harmonious aspect to it, and creative for the most part. It's a dose. It's a two. It's yin and a yang. There's a lot of poise, a lot of tact, a lot of diplomacy that may come as well as like a relief of the impatience that you've been feeling and the bluntness of the previous day of one. Remember, we talked about one yesterday and how it was straightforward and just on your ass, and you had that energy just to fucking focus on one thing and get it done. But this one, you know, it's more of more of a balance of that and your creative side. Anything that you put your heart into today, your creativity or so, is likely to take a harmonious and gentle aura. The day, so it's perfect today to look at some origins for real, for real. The day isn't perfect though, because even two is a gentle energy. It does have its flaws. It's a two for a reason. So you want to look at your personal cycle number to find out exactly what would how you can balance that two off, like what would be the actions that you would take to balance off the energy of the two. It wants to be balanced, and you know, but when it's off kilter, it becomes like a selfish, and Megabot was just talking about this, a selfish type of demanding energy, and tempers can get out of hand. So you know, with the two, it seeks that balance. So keep on your wits about your focus today. What up, Mr. B Great?
All right.
And that's a short reading on the numerology, guys.
I have a couple cards. I have the Three of Cups in reverse.
Okay.
Um, and that is either way, it's time to party. But when it's in reverse, it's asking you to make sure you have time to party and you can afford to party and you are not partying too much. So that's in line for me. I have the Two of Swords also in reverse, which is talking about taking off the blindfold and confronting issues. So when it's in reverse, it kind of means you've already seen the signs or the information that you need to see, but you're still continuing to choose to not see it and pretend that it's not there. Um, so it has a moon element to it, which is typically associated with kind of emotions on the Three of Cups, and then on the Two of Swords in reverse, the moon is appearing again. So you know it could be that you know somebody's not right for you, or you're spending time with not the right people. So just take that into consideration and make sure that you know who you're spending your time with. The last card I have is the Nine of Pentacles. So it's basically saying that you know you have some time to um, relax and you know take a breather and look at you know what you're going to be going ahead into the new year, because you've worked hard and you do owe yourself a treat, or some time to just chill and
Hmm.
relax because you have put all of your things
The
into the
harvest.
garden
Yep.
and they're growing,
Yep.
so yeah. But just make sure that you're looking at everything carefully and that you know what's going on around you, so
Facts. And that, that's what the fuck Wednesday is gonna be about, because we already know where the energy's headed. We're you know into this winter solstice coming, and we already know the whole fucking energy around this time of the year. So we was kind of getting the jump on things. You know, some people might have their Christmas trees up. You'll probably hear the origin of that in our discussions through the month. You'll hear basically just about pretty much where everything came from, and maybe you could figure out what it means to you, or maybe reevaluate what you do around this time of year for yourself.
Right. I mean, I guess if we're going to start at the origin, I guess we just kind of got to I guess we got to talk about what we even mean by the origin. You know what I mean? So, like,
So I
do
mean,
we
like we
just
can.
mean before Christmas, as in before the quote unquote documented birth of Jesus Christ, or are we going to go back, um, you know, 1,000 years before that, 100 years? Because obviously there was probably something um, in the astrology that would kind of lead up to there even being a new um, a new order, because I think that's what it initiated too. Maybe is a new order for the world to kind of go along with.
Oh yeah, for sure. So some people might, if we were to trace it back, we can go in steps. So like if we were to trace it back to
Like, say for instance, where Jesus was
before
born
they were
at, how long had that place been named as the landmass or whatever that it was? You know what I mean?
right,
Like,
yeah.
who established that place? I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. So well, a lot of us will go back to all right. So a lot of this shit comes from European cultures integrating with a lot of other cultures. We all know what the Europeans did when it comes to the spread of the Catholic Church and whatnot. Um, but we asked what were these European countries celebrating prior to Christmas, and some people might get, if they Google the origin, they might get something called Saturnalia. I don't know if anybody's heard of that.
Right. Well, also think about this real quick. Like, there's a ton of Catholics
Hmm.
on this planet, but they don't actually believe in Christmas.
Right. True.
But they still celebrate Christmas. What the fuck is going on, man? I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get my questions are gonna be crazy every time.
it just goes to show you that, traditions and things people tell you to do and things that you see done when you're a child, they really imprint on you much stronger than understanding the beliefs of a religion or
Hmm.
a group of people that you associate with.
100%
So,
right.
yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So Saturnalia was, so if we go back to the most recent, what would it be,
Hey, I got a perfect example though, real quick.
yeah,
So, me being raised as a Jehovah's Witness, not
right,
celebrating any holidays,
right,
anything, birthday, anything like that. Now I do celebrate them. You know what I
right,
mean? So it's
Right.
like,
But
so
you're
the
making a conscious choice to do that.
right, but what you just said, like, even though the religious book and teachings tell you to not do something, the social
Mhm.
around it, all
Mhm.
the social construct
Is
around you
stronger.
is still stronger than
Yes.
what's embedded in you from day one.
Right.
yeah,
And you told me, and I'm paraphrasing, so forgive me if I'm saying it wrong, but you told me that you never really identified with the religion. You were, in it, and your parents were practicing it, so therefore you were in a sense doing
right.
so, but you didn't really ever
Give a
connect with it
yeah,
on an
Nah,
internal
nah. I
level.
mean, like by the time you're like, 7 or 8 years old, like if if you've been like brought up in it from day one out the belly,
right,
then you're already gonna feel something.
right. See, but
You know what I mean?
we talked about though, just like when the traditions of each type of people, and we talked about, like, if you're asking yourself, so what was motherfuckers doing before you know this shit even fucking existed, and it was almost like they were already doing the same thing, they just called it something different.
Yeah, I think.
What was that word
Go ahead.
or that term?
Saturnalia.
Saturnalia.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
worship of the sun, essentially, is kind of what it boils
I thought
down
it had
to,
something to do with damn
What was
Saturn.
the honor to god of Saturn? It was
which
held.
is, yeah.
Yeah, and we know and the god of Saturn. See, and that's something.
Oh,
If we
okay,
were to
okay.
get
The
into,
god of Saturn.
yeah, if we would get into the god of Saturn, like you would see that a lot of these quote unquote cults slash uh secret societies or religions, that Saturn is, it's also a representation of the darker side of things.
If you go
Um,
back and you
it's
look
a
at the
cult.
symbolism of Saturnalia, it's
Yes.
early symbolism, and it's what they would have used as a symbol for the sun. We don't know that as it today because we don't use the same symbolism, but
Right.
they were recognizing the power
Right.
of the
So
sun.
before Rome, before the Romans, that was the, like, I guess you want to say, one of the most recent empires, I guess. So like if you were to go in ages or whatnot, so if we were to just take a step back to what was happening before Christianity, and then when they go to take over these other nations, how they mixed what the fuck they learned from them to create the Christianity and to create this, but instead of of um of they took, instead of like getting rid of all their old customs, like the Romans and the Catholics didn't want to give up Saturnalia. Saturnalia was a celebration where, for from the 17th to the 23rd, niggas, they gave gifts, they got drunk, they had orgies, they gave poor people, like they crowned somebody the king of the fucking poor people, peasants, the king of the peasants, they called it, and they let that motherfucker do whatever the fuck he wanted. That whole, just from the 17th through the 23rd, like it was a lot of crazy, the gambling, the everything that they were trying to like basically purge out all of the fucking sinful shit it was like a purge. It was literally like a purge, but it was a purge of all the sinful shit that they wanted to fucking do every year, and they practiced that Saturnalia shit. So then here comes fucking the Catholic Church, and they go and take over these other shits. And when they decided in the Council of Nicaea to bring all of these other religions under the Christianity belt, you know what I mean, they decided to create, a lot of the Romans didn't want to give up what they celebrated. So instead of just fucking giving up Saturnalia, they just changed it and said, well, we'll just celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ on this day.
Yeah, it's like, instead of somebody being called a colored person, we're just going to switch it and say people of color.
But like, so and then you're like, okay, so what was motherfuckers doing? So then you ask, that question. So before Christianity and the Roman Catholics, they had some shit called fucking Saturnalia. You know what I mean?
Okay, how
And
long?
yeah,
How long did the Romans celebrate or participate in that Saturnalia?
that was my next thing. I was gonna go to the Britannica to
I was
see
just wondering how
where.
long that lasted.
So
That belief system or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like, was it just with them, or did they get their little pieces from somebody else and then create their own Saturnalia?
Well, because Saturn is like it was like Odin. It also was like a representation of Odin. So like if you want to take it back a little bit further, before they had Catholic and the Catholic Church and whatnot, it would have been they were celebrating the Greek gods like Odin and shit at the end of December. So it does predate like Christianity, but if you go back a little further, it was the celebration of Odin, you know what I mean, instead of
I think
the god of,
Odin is a Norse god.
yes, he is a Norse god.
So basically, around the Roman
And
Catholic
Odin,
era
yeah,
is when the kind of like the change up, I guess you would say, and like they kind of centralized more of it into just a Father, Son, Holy Spirit type thing instead of like a ton of different gods.
yeah. I mean, and like the Greeks had their version of Odin as well. Um, Everybody had, so it's like it's crazy that these entities, you know what I'm saying, existed and what they were doing, before like the Christmas. Um, Let me see here. See, Odin
Yeah,
and the
like
Greeks were
like
was the
before
god of
Christmas,
war.
like was there a god? Was there a son of God?
Right. No, that's what I mean. Like it all happened around the Council of Nicaea, right? Oh shit. That was the Council of Nicaea 325. It was the first one that developed the Christianity church, the Christian church. Hold on, I'm trying to get the year when it all changed from Saturnalia
To Christianity?
to Christmas.
Okay. Oh yeah, to Christmas, the holiday.
So they took that celebration of Christmas and they turned, or excuse me, of Saturnalia, and they was like, well, the Romans and the Greeks, they don't want to give up Saturnalia. So what we'll do is we'll make Saturnalia the birth of Christ on the 25th of December, and they'll still be able to do their celebration that they like to do. And that's what Christianity really, consists of. It consists of a lot. Like, so if you take the 12 commandments, for example, those were a copy from the ancient laws of Kemet. They
Yeah.
took a little bit of everything from all of the regions and combined them into. That's what Christianity is basically consistent of. That's why
Can I
it's
say something really quick, fellas?
yeah.
All right, check this out. There's a book by a gentleman named Kersey Graves called The 16 Crucified Saviors.
Hmm.
Long before the concept of, you got to remember,
Oh yeah.
Christianity is one of the youngest religions on the
Facts.
planet. And
Yep.
then after Christianity, you have Islam as young because that came out in 750 AD, and
Right.
then you got Judaism, which
Hmm.
came out in 861 under King Bulan.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, if all those religions are that young, you got to remember every other religion is way older than Christianity.
And you said the
So
16 Christ.
the 16 crucified saviors, which means it was a whole bunch of Christ men. Do you
Yeah.
know that Vishnu was a
Yeah.
son of
Vishnu.
God and a lamb of God? Vishnu from the Hindu people,
Dionysus. Dionysus from the
Dionysus,
Greece.
Zeus, Zeus.
Zeus.
Uh,
Yup.
yes, like
Horus.
you could go on for days
Yeah. For
for
sure.
for for son of gods before Christ. Think
Oh yeah.
about this. Christianity had to had to use a little bit of everybody's uh, uh, religion to make their
Facts.
religion universal. So every say for instance, you had a religion, and there was a deified figure in your religion that was big at the time. I would
Right.
have to incorporate that into my young religion just so you could universally look at my religion and say, hey,
Yep.
you got the same thing as me, so I could rock with you.
Right. And
I'm sorry,
because
guys. I'm sorry.
no, you good. You absolutely right because that's part of the origin of the whole fucking shit that people are celebrating right now. Um, and that's what we have to. That's what we're fucking diving into today. Is the what the fuck was motherfuckers doing before Christmas? Like what really every African was celebrating some, doing something around this time of year maybe. And we're trying to. And they were doing something different in Japan. They were doing something different over here and over here, and when you bring it all together, you find out the origins are all connected from previous either religions
Because they were
or
all hijacked and stolen. They were all
facts.
They were
understand Papa
manipulated.
Legba.
Yeah, they were manipulated.
Yep.
Yes, Papa Legba
Yes, Papa
for the
Legba.
voodoo religion. He's a son of God. Do
Yep.
you know that there is a man? His name is oh, I forget his name, but every time you see people, they have on top hats and skeleton faces. They
Yeah, I know what you're talking
resemble.
about.
All right,
Um,
he is the son of God. He is the keeper of the dead. He
yeah.
determines who lives and
What's his
who
name?
dies.
They had him in
He-
a Disney movie. He was
yes, yeah,
in he was
exactly.
in
Yeah, yeah.
the Princess and the
He was in
Frog.
the, and he was the villain. Yes,
Yeah. Yep.
yes, you're
I
absolutely
know,
right.
and that's crazy, because like I said, so there was a council of Nicaea, like so this is during the Roman takeover, you know what I mean, of all these different
325 AD.
places. 325 AD, May 20th, they say it happened.
Yes,
You know what I mean? And
yep.
that's when Emperor Constantine got together with the group with the Catholic Church, and they decided that they needed one religion to come under because they claimed that it was so much chaos in the region because everybody was celebrating or everybody was worshiping a different
Right.
deity or a different type of god.
But the
Now,
whole
but
purpose of it was to instill fear.
That too, because they killed
Yeah.
and
what
murdered. lots of anybody who didn't believe, they burned down libraries, they burned down temples. This wasn't like, oh, okay, you're absolutely right, Megawatt. It wasn't like, oh, okay, we're trying to help the lands by uniting us under one religion.
Oh
It
no, it was
wasn't
like a
that.
fucking like a takeover, like a invasion, bro.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Like a
Think how
war.
you
You know what I'm
watch this.
saying?
Watch this, guys. All right. What happened was, all right, the pharaohs were saw as gods with a small g. But when the Ptolemies took over, which were the European invaders, they didn't have that. And to be incorporated into the godhood, they had to come up with a Europeanized figure, which would become the small g for their god.
His
And
name is
his name was
Caesar.
Serapis. Serapis.
Yes,
If
sir.
you look at the so if Google Serapis really
Oh
quick,
yeah, I know.
and
I
you'll
know.
you'll see
Yeah.
the image that looked just like Christ.
Yeah.
That incorporated the Europeans into the Godhead. So they
Oh yeah.
became gods with small g's. Yes, that's what Christ was about. Because the first Christ was Serapis. This new Christ, that was even new to them.
hmm Absolutely. And it was like you said, it was a Nova. It was a war. It was a religious, literally a religious war. If you didn't, anybody who didn't come under the new religion of Christianity was murdered. Was
But
fucking
the purpose was to bring hell
hmm
into the picture to scare people into doing what they wanted. And
absolutely.
that's where this was created from.
Absolutely. And then the New Testament came about when, they realized that it was their God was too rough.
Right.
You know
Which
what I
and
mean?
that's when you realize, wait a minute, is this talking about the same God,
Because
the New
the old
Testament,
God,
and the
the old God
original old?
resembles don't the old God resemble like more of an Islamic God?
Yeah.
Like very vengeful and and all of that other shit. And then the new God, you know what I mean, is just like, God done
The new
turned
God is
his
like the more of like the Judeo-Christian value,
right.
Ex-
which
Yo, think how you be. Yo, do you got a book in front of you or something, man?
Nah, bro.
Yo, listen. The reason why you are absolutely the new God is the God of Paul. Paulianism created the new
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
There is if none of the things that Paul talked about is any of the things that Jesus enforced.
Mm-hmm.
No, Jesus
yeah,
was
N-
the
exactly.
original enforcer. He came in
Mm-hmm.
and he laid down the law and he told people how they were supposed to be doing things, and it wasn't.
Mm-mm.
And
No.
Paul tried to come behind him with a whole nother set of doctrine.
Hmm.
Yep. There's and was so here we are understanding that what people are celebrating nowadays is, if you go back, like millions of people, well, I don't say millions, maybe possibly millions died, well, from then until now, definitely millions of people have died off of trying to instill, almost basically, like, instead of like a one world government, was trying to instill a one world religion
Yep.
that basically was a copycat story from all the other religions that came before it. Now, obviously, they did a lot of fucked up shit to instill this type of shit, and like that's how I'm like, I don't really like to celebrate this time of year in the manner in which it's presented to us, because we start, when you understand the origin of where it all came from, it a lot of it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, there wouldn't be people following stars in the middle of winter through the desert. Y'all know how cold it is in the desert. Like, I mean, this is just common sense shit that we were fucking taught in school. You know what I mean? Like, the desert is too cold for that type of
You'd
shit.
freeze
You know
to
what I'm
death.
saying?
Yo,
Yeah, you'd
can,
absolutely
can,
freeze to death.
Especially
Absolutely.
can,
out there with a damn
So
robe on and some
right.
flip
can
So
we
flops,
so
answer?
sandals.
Can we answer Gassan's question? He
oh
said, "What the f?" Right? He said that Paul scenario. Can I break it down just real quick for him?
yeah, go ahead.
If you look at the New Testament, Paul is associated with for writing at least 7 to 12 books in the New Testament. And none of the things that from the book of Acts, it's a Romans, it's a like 7 to 12 of them that's written by Paul. And he has a doctrine that even Peter and John and them consider him a madman. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
They said
a lot
that
of
Peter and
Christians are always like, "Oh yeah, Apostle Paul was like, he didn't take no crap."
it's like he was a deceiver.
Right.
He he said that the things that he was supposed to be able to do, he couldn't do. But the things that he was supposed to be able to do, no, he said the things that he was supposed to be able to do, he couldn't do. But he did the things that he shouldn't be able to do. That means he was a Christian in reverse.
Yeah.
He was a reverse Christian. He empowered people to go out and just commit any infraction they wanted to and just go ahead and repent. What kind of religion gives that?
Right.
Well,
That's
that's that
crazy.
that's that Judeo
Yeah, that's
Christian.
that new. That's that. Yeah,
That's
that's that
that
new.
that's
That's
that
that new shit.
Jewish mixed with Christianity.
Yeah, that's that new
You know
shit.
what I mean? Like
Ex-
Yeah, for sure.
because
And you're right.
if you
There,
think about
basically what he's
if you
saying that
go
G
to a
call.
synagogue and you
Right.
sit and listen, you read the literature, etc., you're gonna find out that it's kind of like do whatever.
ex-
Yeah.
that think about think I'm Gary. Y'all gotta have a surprise show. And instead of calling it the Think High Crew, call it the New Priest. Let me tell you, listen, because y'all preaching it. Understand this. Do you know that the new way that Zionism think is you go out and you sin until Jesus come back? Did you guys know that?
Yep.
Well,
The
that's
goal
just
with the new Judaism is to
yeah.
sin until to force Jesus' hand to have to come back.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's why real Jews who practice Judaism, they don't claim anything about they don't like the Zionists either. They're at war with the Zionists as well because they feel like they've hijacked their shit. See, and a lot of people don't, and that gets deep as well because it is part of the origin of this whole holiday, and it's a war right now in that same region that
Well,
that all of this.
Jesus was Jewish also.
Yes. So yep. So it is very relevant to the situation. See, what a lot of people aren't realizing is that everybody, if this book is true, then that means everybody in the world is somewhere related to one of the fucking 12 tribes, no matter who you is. So if we everybody goes back with their ancestors and find out
That
which
means
tribe you
everybody's
came from.
Jewish.
Right, basically. So if we do the research, because everybody supposedly the first humans were in Africa, in Sumeria, and all this other shit. So if we're taking account all of the information, then we realize that okay, every one of us is part or is cousins with, if not directly, a part of these one of these 12 tribes. Okay, but what people don't know is that there's really 13. There was another kid that was made outside of the wedlock, that people don't know about. His name is Dan. If you Google who Dan was, he was the child had outside of wedlock, and he felt like he is the rightful ruler to the Israel
You
or
talking about Mr. Kessler's book, The 13 Tribes? Yo, you got
yes.
man.
So
Y'all just be speaking this stuff like it's just normal. Explain this stuff. Please don't just say it.
all right. Well, I was just so wait. We got Abraham, and Abraham had Isaac, and Isaac had Jacob, and there's 12 tribes. Then Jacob had 12 sons. Okay, but he really had a 13th son. His name is Dan. Was had out of wedlock, but he didn't have any rights
Now,
to
this is what
the
this is
kingdom.
what gets crazy though, right? Is who was the woman?
Right. So
Who
yeah,
was the
exactly.
mama?
Exactly. See, they don't
Who
talk
was the
about that, and
mama if the
that's a great
if
question. That's a great fucking
Who
question.
was the
So, but
13 moms? Because because all of the 13 tribes are of different nationalities. So if it's
facts.
13 tribes, that means there are 13 mothers.
Right, but there was a child, okay, that was held out of wedlock. One of them 13 was had by a concubine type shit, and his name was Dan. And Dan, like I said, he felt like he was the rightful ruler because he was the eldest out of all of the 12 out of the 13 sons. Dan was the eldest, but Dan didn't get the rights to the Holy Land and to the kingdom of heaven or God or whatever the fuck, however they depicted that shit. He didn't have it because he was born out of wedlock. He wasn't born to the woman that Jacob was married to. So Dan kids is where a lot of people theorize the Zionists come from. So the Zionists, and then you got the because they came from like a Turkish area. They were called the Khazars. Am I speaking saying that right?
Yeah, Khazarian.
The Khazarian Empire. Okay, and those are Dan's kids, and Dan's kids is basically these Zionists that have created this state that has teamed up with many other countries in Zionists around the world, many other
Yeah, the
lands, Dan's
Khazarians.
kids. Yeah,
Also, you're right. It's the Khazarians and it's the ones the
Bolsheviks.
Bolsheviks.
Ashkenazi
Bolshevik.
Jews. Yet they're all the European
This
Jews.
is
They're
Yes,
and
all
this is
European.
where all the presidential bloodlines come from.
yes. Oh
Hmm
my God,
Yeah.
nigga! Wow, you took the words right out of my fucking
Yo,
mouth.
I'm
y'all
here
on
to do
fire.
that. Yeah.
You took
This
the
is where
words
all
right
the
out of my fucking
presidents
mouth.
are born out of. Yes. And
Right.
13
So
is an important number. It does
yes,
mean something. It
yes.
appears on the
Well, there
flag.
was 12
It
apostles. Jesus made
yes.
13. You can
Yes.
go on down the list.
There's a
The
whole bunch of
eagle
stuff.
on the dollar got 13 talons in his hand.
Hmm
Right.
Yep. The
It
arrows. Yep.
signifies the 13 original bloodlines.
Yes. Yep. And
Exactly.
that's what I'm saying.
And the
And
13 banks of the
and
Federal Reserve.
yes, but they don't tell you about Dan, and all we hear is about the 12 tribes of Judah. You don't hear about Dan. You don't hear about Dan and his kids. You know what I mean? And you know what animal was representation of Dan's house? A snake. So the snake was the representation of Dan's house. You know what I mean? So you had the lion, you had, all the other, animals that
Yeah,
they
the
used.
lion was Judah.
The lion was Judah, but Dan was the snake. And like I said, they've kind of taken that out of the Bible, but it is in some of the those older Bibles, because they also have Lilith in those older Bibles as
Hold on.
well,
Can
which
I
was
say
the,
something?
the
Yo,
first
Jason,
wife of
you
Adam. Yeah.
keep saying stuff. Like, all right, if you say Lilith, at least 90% of your listeners don't know who you're talking about. You just cancel out 90. Lilith was Adam's first. See, that's why I say you can't
Yeah.
just say stuff. Y'all be saying stuff like we be super educated on here.
Hey, you know what it's
Think
all
of the
about?
little
Is
man.
I'm gonna tell you what it is. I just want to encourage people to go ahead and be like, "What?"
Yeah.
And go ahead and look it up. You know what I mean?
They need
Yeah,
to.
Yeah, you
for
guys'
sure.
shock value is off the meter. I love it.
Lilith is an astrological pattern in the sky too.
Yes,
So
yes, it
your
is.
Yes,
Lilith
it
sign
is.
is something you have to look at as well.
What's the reason why I named my second child? I named my second child Lilith, and
I
it's
didn't
funny
know that.
because
Oh my
yes,
good.
and it's crazy because the first time I ran into and wanted to study basically the origin of the name and shit, and what it was all about and where it came from. I went to one of my wife's family reunions, and her family's Italian, so most of the people are Catholic, or there's some like old school Catholics, you know what I mean, who've read these part of Judaism is a big part of that. But it was funny as hell because when she asked who Lilith was a baby, she asked her name, what her name was, and I was like, her name is Lilith, and she said, "Oh, the great seductress." And I was like, "Well, the great seductress." I'm like, "Oh, okay. So let me look up why."
What religion believes that?
Right.
That's
So I was
astrology,
like,
not a religion.
yeah. I was like, so they named her that, and she's the goddess of all demons. They say she was the first vampire and everything because she made it with the archangel Gabriel after getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden because she wanted to ride the dick instead of fucking always be on the bottom. And I don't know what fucking real man would even oppose to that type of shit, because sometimes we don't want to fucking do all of that hunching. And Adam wasn't a real nigga if you
Yeah.
Adam wasn't a real nigga if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I'd have been
See.
like, oh hell yeah, baby, you can ride it. I mean, she was made from the same dirt. So as we go back into these origins of Christianity and Christmas, and we dove into the countless number of gods that have changed over the years, and the countless number of reasons behind what they study, we get to a part of this shit that nobody ever fucking even knew about. And it's just wild because this is where this shit comes from. Like, if y'all don't
Right.
know where this shit comes from,
Imagine this is where it comes from, but where it's at now is Santa
bro,
and
see,
Cyber Monday.
yes.
See.
That's
See.
Yeah,
where it
You
is.
guys, man.
Santa did not come from a happy, jovial, welcoming place. I'm just here to
Oh
tell you
no,
right
See, he
now,
was
Santa
Krampus.
is
redo the
yes,
letters of Santa. Redo the letters
yep.
of Santa. That's
hmm
fucking Satan, bro. You know
Most
what I'm
people
saying?
can't do
Like,
crossword puzzles anymore. No, come on now,
bro,
let's
when
be
we
This
real.
is the
understand the
this
language,
is
though,
the
the
only
language is
podcast that I will give somebody the benefit of the doubt of ever saying something wrong or having a
hmm
misstatement. And simply because I know you guys are well read. Y'all either do a lot of listening or like a lot of reading. I don't know which one it
I am
is.
a reader since first grade. I read all the time,
facts,
sir. If I'm not reading, I'm
facts.
sleeping.
Right. And it's wild because I think that it was all a method for you to give away your precious energy that you have here on this to work with here on this plane, this earth plane, to an outside entity that you have no idea where it came from. And these things are living, breathing energies, guys. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Like, we're
Instead,
celebrating.
it's 20% interest on that credit card.
You know
That's
what I
what
mean?
it is
So
now.
if you think about Satan, or excuse me, Santa, right? Santa originated from some whole fucking other shit. You know what I'm saying? And it has nothing to do with the birth of Christ
Yep.
or what the fuck
But
these
hey,
Christians are actually
we're
celebrating.
but the thing about it is like where Santa came from. But then where did these motherfucking elves come from, bro?
Yo,
What?
you know where? From straight out of Charles Dickens's mind. You know, Charles Dickens wrote A Christmas Carol, and
Right.
prior to A Christmas Carol, the people in America and other countries hated Christmas. But
Mhm.
the book, The Christmas Carol, opened up the door for Christmas
Well,
because
Are the
they
elves like
tell you.
child labor?
No, they're dwarfs.
no, they were the child
They're
snatchers.
dwarfs.
They the ones that kidnapped the children and took them to Santa to be molested.
Listen, it's believed. Well, obviously, you know what I mean. They'll tell you the origin of fucking Santa is related to Saint Nicholas,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what
Mm-hmm.
they is the believed. You know what I mean?
And
But we all
some people practice those beliefs, but it's very few and far between.
right. But even if then, though, we know what the Catholic Church is responsible for when it comes to children in general. Right? So the story of Saint Nicholas, it could be, is, to me, it has some cloud over it. You know what I mean? And that's something during this month or during this time, I'd like to divulge, something into that, because obviously, you know what I mean, Saint Nicholas couldn't have been who we think is going to be if we know the origin of all of these religions. And the fact that, Saturnalia was a time that people did
Well,
shit like that to
doesn't
kids,
that
and it was okay.
isn't it like a doesn't it kind of derive from like a more of a Russian situation?
So
Krampus did,
presents,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Krampus
Yeah.
did.
yeah,
But you got to remember, the Russians, they didn't have a God concept. They
No.
had no God concept at all. As a matter of
Eh,
fact, go ahead, go
Right.
ahead.
Well, I mean, Russia's in all reality,
well, they
Russia's
weren't.
kind of new. You know what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
name Russia,
yeah.
because for the most part, Russia.
But Santa's only like 1773, like 18th century old,
Well,
supposedly.
but
Right.
they
That's what I'm
didn't.
saying.
They didn't.
Krampus is old.
They
Right,
didn't
Krampus
approach
is
it
old
from
as
a
hell.
positive thing, though. It was a negative thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't like happy go lucky.
Sinister,
Everyone's
no,
yeah.
Sinterklaas, Sinterklaas,
Centaur. Yeah.
Sinterklaas,
Uh-huh.
Klaas, was a shortened name for Saint Nicholas, Dutch for Saint Nicholas. Let me see here. Yeah, you're right, but the stories were bad. It wasn't a good
I
thing.
bet you. I
Right, but
bet you he was a killer. I
United
bet you.
States got that shit from like the
He would
Soviet Union
actually
era.
breathe in the soul of children.
Right, there it is. I'm finding this. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
He was a
Go
killer.
ahead.
No,
Because St. Patrick was a killer. St. Patrick, he's heralded for getting the snakes out of Ireland. But what he actually did was kill the
Oh yeah.
group of undesirable people in Ireland.
Yeah, with
That's what he actually did.
the real fucking leprechauns. Yeah, I know. I know that story is a fucking tragic one too. I'm trying to divulge in. I know Megawatt was talking about was it the breathing of the souls. What was
mm-hmm. So he would come into the house at night and he would breathe in the essence or the soul of the child to regain power and have more energy and have a rejuvenation of sorts. I don't know what else to
Krampus?
I don't know what else to call it.
Or
Yeah.
okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
The
So and
Krampus.
it was more of like you didn't want that to happen. You didn't want him to come to your house or whatever. So I don't know how it got turned all around on its head and
Krampus
messed
dates
up.
back to the 6th and the 7th century AD. So you're right, Nova and Megawatt. That shit is way older than
Because capitalism made it switch around to where
it's
they
thought to be
use that
Bavarian.
story
I'm
to
sorry.
make people act good during the year so kids would be able to get something bought for them.
Krampus is thought to come from either Bavarian Krampen, meaning dead or rotten, or from the German Krampen, meaning claw.
Well, and there you have it. If you
Wait. It's a half goat, half
Yes.
monster.
Yes, that's why I said centaur. Centaur. I was saying it.
Yeah,
So
the saint,
he
yeah.
he clomped into your house and you could see the footprints in the snow. That's how you would know that he was there. And he was not there for good at all. And he was, taking away an essence of a child, which if you're talking about Bavaria, they're just talking about scratching the surface on what you can say and what you can't say, because they do much worse stuff on the down low than they're ever going to tell you.
Right. And that Saint Nicholas shit. Mup, I'm getting some feedback on your line. Yeah, Baphomet. And that's another one on there.
My fault.
You good. That shit is fucking Krampus is fucking crazy, guys. So this predates even your Santa. So this is where your Santa comes from, guys. Santa wasn't fucking. Oh my gosh, Krampus is horrible. I'm just reading about this shit. Krampus is not fucking.
There was a horror movie made in the last 5 years about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so like my guess like Austria, and there's a lot of governments that got rid of it around like 1930s. They got rid of Krampus and shit like that. Figures like Krampus. Oh yeah. So Krampus, it says Krampus figures persisted, and by the 17th century, Krampus had been incorporated into Christian winter celebrations by pairing Krampus with Saint Nicholas. Wow. So Santa supposedly came from Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas came from Krampus. Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me? I can't hear anybody. I'll bounce out and come back.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
I can't hear you, no, if you're talking. No.
I can hear you, Jason.
Okay. Yeah, I can't hear no. You might have to come in with your other account, no, as you walk out the room. Man, that shit is fucking crazy, guys. What the fuck? So I've heard about Krampus, but I've never really dove into exactly Krampus having the direct connection to Santa Claus. Hold on, let me answer no. Yeah, no, but I'm here. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Try to get our co-host back. I know he was saying some shit. You still there, Megawatt? Mup? Anybody? I see your mic on Mup, but I can't hear you. Nova said it ended for him. Shit. What the fuck? I seen Megawatt just jump back in now. I can't hear you though. Uh-oh. Technical difficulties. We was getting too fucking live in this bitch.
I'm here.
Okay, there you go. I can hear you now. They like, uh-oh, they getting too real on here. Get back in here, no. This shit wild. What the fuck? Wednesday wouldn't be nothing less than, I guess, right? Makes perfect sense. Baphomet and the motherfuckers. Baphomet and the motherfuckers. These niggas.
Popping ain't having it. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I gave you some
Popping.
lost our co-host. Yeah, them niggas mad.
Yo, yo,
There he is.
can you hear me?
What up? I can hear you now, brother.
I don't know what's going on, man. Anyway,
Krampus came
the
through,
Wi
nigga.
right, the Wi-Fi is like out, and it says that the whole broadcast is cut off. So I don't even know what's going on right now, to be honest.
Shit, it says on my end that we still got 7 people live in here.
But does that mean, guys, that they probably put this show on the island by itself and we're separate from the whole Podbean network at the
Hey,
moment?
could be, but hey, I bet you we still publish this bitch everywhere else though. You know what I'm saying?
See, yo, you
You know
know
what I'm
what?
saying?
You guys are too deep. Y'all too deep for them. I'm sorry. Y'all gonna have to start your own platform.
Oh yeah. Well, that's coming too, because we already got our own website, and you know what I mean, we need to we gonna do the visuals and everything. So like, we're gonna be, we're gonna take it there on that level to where you'll be able to see us while we fucking having the show, and we're gonna bring on dope ass guests, and we're gonna continue to have these dope ass conversations about shit. You know what I mean? And we got all December, so hopefully we're planning that for the new year. You know what I mean? So hopefully by the new year, everybody could put a face to the voices, and it'll be, we have a dope ass visual, type thing to go with it as well.
Yep. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I'm having to use my phone right now, just on the little app, but the platform's like done, bro. But it's not at the same time. It's still
It's weird.
going. So I don't understand what's going on. But yeah.
Hey, we take it as it is, as long as it's still recording.
But yeah, man, the origins of just,
Yeah,
the whole Christmas vibe in general. It's just like, because everybody, the whole world, I don't even give a fuck if you even just live in Iran. Like,
mm-hmm.
even if you live in Iran, bro, like somehow, some way, Christmas is affecting you. Even if you don't celebrate it, even if you don't like just the economics of the world or the vibe of it is affecting somebody, anywhere. And then you got like most of the world celebrating some type of Christmas with deals and sales and shopping and family getting together. So, like, the origin of Christmas is really just like the origin of this time of year. You know what I mean? Like, and
Oh
why
yeah.
does everybody feel like, to celebrate the new year and to have like two or three other holidays leading up to it? Like, there's got to be a vibe coming from.
Megawatt was talking about the stars
Exactly. The
and the
energy coming off
energies.
of that.
Well, yeah, it's the harvest season. This is the time that most people did celebrate. Like, so we celebrated the harvest. What you want to say the harvest solstice or the fall solstice, and everybody cut down all their grains and stuff. And so this whole month of December is normally a celebration, of a good fucking harvest. You know what I mean? But it's instead of it being like just that, it's been hijacked for that energy, bro. Like for that energy that people used to put into, harvesting foods and getting it done. Now people put that energy where in a job so they can buy fucking presents. You know what I mean? It was like as I look at the origins, it was like a redirection of the
Nope.
energy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
But you,
Because
you got
it was like capitalism was like, okay, look, we need people to spend money. How can we direct enough energy at a certain time of the year and we can get a big paycheck
bro,
every year?
they talk
You
about
know
the
what I mean?
shekels all the time, bro. The shekels is the number one thing. The shekels come before all. You mean you heard?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard many of these Zionists speak, and just so I can have a perspective, all of those perspectives. I listen to them all unbiasedly, all different fucking types of those type of beliefs, but it all comes back down to what the shekel about making that fucking money. You know what I mean? And when you had a group of high powerful religious individuals come together in a council to determine that this is what needs to do. But not only that, it's a bloodbath to get to that point. And then now here we are still on this day talking about, this was the day that Christ was born of a fucking virgin, and three wise men traveled through a fucking frozen fucking desert.
but you
Right.
guys just had a show that's connected to this one, whether you remember or not. You just had a show talking about the programs in the Matrix.
Oh yeah,
This
thank
is
you
one
for
of the
making the
programs
connection.
in this
Oh,
is one of the programs in the Matrix, because you got to remember it was Christianity
my nigga
that
Mob
created
Zooms out.
capitalism, and
Yes.
they needed if Christianity, if capitalism was the child of Christianity, they needed a way for their child to thrive economically. So this
Yeah.
is why we have this Christmas energy.
Oh yeah, for sure. And thank you for zooming out, because that's definitely, if you zoom, when you zoom out and if you were to listen to all the podcasts and put all the keys together, then you would see it's a reason why that we talk about the topics that we do and then lead into the other topics that we do. Exactly. It's definitely a glitch in the motherfucking matrix.
Yeah.
And because it makes no motherfucking sense. You know what I mean? None of it makes any fucking sense. Because
This
if
is this is like our way of staying up to date with the mainstream without sounding like a fucking programmed
right.
podcast that just copy and paste CNN and Fox News together and then
Yep.
they talk about it.
Yep. Because
You know
like
what I mean? It's like
there's a
the
bunch of
energies
people
of
having podcasts that's as or excuse me, that's what you want to say, pushing the same narrative. There's a lot of
exactly
podcasts out there right now that's like, oh, Christmas
because it's
is
easy.
satisfying. Da, 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 da. Yeah,
It's easy.
absolutely.
Just think
Absolutely.
about it. If we pick one side, bro, if we either pick the red side or the blue side, whatever you want to call it, if we
Hmm.
picked one side and just promoted the propaganda and the rhetoric and the bullshit, then
Hmm.
it's so easy for people to fall in with that podcast and you to get a huge following real quick. But
Yeah.
I mean,
See,
is
But you
that
know
what you
what,
really want to
guys?
do though?
All of it is programs. See,
hmm
you guys are talking about the easy programs to implement. Like, just say, for instance, you have this right wing or left wing rhetoric. If you guys made a podcast, like, it'd be so easy to pick a side, but
Yep.
you guys have topics where people have to think. That's
Yep.
why it's never 35, 40 people in y'all chat.
Right.
The
You're
average
right. Because
American is not accustomed to thinking.
oh yeah, and
Exactly.
that's what we want to do. We don't want to give you the we don't want to say this is the way that you should be thinking. That's why the first episode about this during this month is the origin of, you know what I mean? Like, so let's just look at where we got this shit from. And let's look at what humans
And
were
what made it
doing.
so damn powerful?
Well, yeah. And let's look at what we were doing before all of this shit. What was it
Yeah, and
really?
what made us accept this as the new shit?
Right.
Like, what made us accept these? And then you get into, okay, so these Bible stories, were they really written back then, or were these
Right.
created
Right.
later on to
All right, let me
control
ask you guys something.
people?
Yes, sir.
You guys heard of Noah just like I did. You guys heard
Right.
of Abraham, all of them. Where
Right.
are some of their tombs at? Because some of the pharaohs, we found
Good
King
question.
Tutankhamun, we
Yeah.
found the pharaoh Nefer, but where are all the biblical characters at? Which are
Right.
younger than the pharaohs, mind you.
Well,
Where are
we did an
they?
episode on the whole, King Tut versus Jesus, as
Yeah.
far as
Exactly.
King Tut was much older and much more preserved, well preserved, and was found, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, proof
To be
of.
factual, yes.
And then
Right.
To
And
be
then they
there's
factual.
the
just found
Jesus
another
Christ
one.
theory
They just found
that's
another one in the ocean
no proof.
that was. You're right. Then they just found another burial in the ocean of another fucking mummy that was well preserved and was older than that. Like, and you're right.
Yeah.
We definitely, that's all, questions that come about
And
when you
then
start
remember
asking.
I brought up the Vatican and
Yeah.
how rich and how much money and power the Vatican has, and they
Oh my
can't find
God.
any proof of Jesus.
Right. And on top of that, you know what I mean?
Because
They
if
were they
Catholics
were
believe in Mary giving birth to Jesus,
they were
where's the
there.
fucking proof, bro?
Exactly. And they were there. They were there at the Council of Nicaea. The Vatican was there. You see what I mean? Like, that's a whole nother thing right there. So if you know the Vatican, which is responsible for a lot of fuck shit, was there to help decide what religion was gonna be the number one fucking religion, you don't fucking think that they
You
was,
don't think they
getting
had some
those
influence?
right.
Exactly. See, y'all
Absolutely.
guys gonna have to do a part two of this show, man.
Oh yeah, well
Listen,
it's for the winter. It's for the because we first wanted to start, like I said, with the origin. So now we know that during there was a Saturnalia before that, and before that it was the worship of Norse and Greek gods like Odin and them motherfuckers.
And
hmm
then
And
we
hmm
know
now
where the whole Santa thing came from.
yep, and now we know Santa it was Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas was Krampus. Krampus was something that y'all motherfuckers don't want to fuck with. Um, and so we find out that, and then the rituals of giving presents and Christmas trees and all that shit. We're gonna get into the origin of that as well. Along through the shows this month because
Jason,
obviously
let me
we're gonna
ask
have
you.
to
Let me
touch
stop you
along with
for a
that.
second, Jason.
Yeah.
What percentage, if you had to give a percentage of
Mhm.
people who know the history of what you just spoke about, what percentage would you say of the population in the United States know exactly what you was just speaking of?
1%, the motherfuckers who run this shit.
Ex, and that's why you guys are necessary. See, a
hmm
lot of times we'll start something like you guys started this podcast, and we just think we doing something because we want to, because that's how we
hmm
think now as Americans. But the thing about it is, you guys are necessary because y'all feeding a population of starving people that's not aware that they're starving intellectually.
Yes, sir. And you know what?
They're
My
not
homie
even
Midget
aware
was
of it.
on yesterday, and that's what he was talking about. I needed that, and that's just what it is. You know what I mean? Like we know a lot of people ask themselves why all the time. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure that the average human might have been like, why do we do all of this? Why do we do all of this? And especially around this time of year. You know what I mean? Some people might start with the question, why do we decide to be nice just around this time of year? Like why is it, this time of year you're gonna give that homeless guy some food or some money, or this time of year you're more compelled to do like, and you start there. You start really with yourself, and these are questions that we talk to each other about on a daily basis, just in our friends group. So we you thought it would be a great idea to bring these type of questions to everybody else, because there's people who think that, but they don't have the time to be like, all right, let me go look up the origin of fucking Santa, and then make a conscious
Exactly.
decision if they're going to continue to participate or not. You know what I mean? Like we just want to point out that a lot of the origin of what we're that we're going to do this month is some shit that we might not want to participate in later. You know what I mean? Like there's got to be a way for us to get that out there, because it's got to balance out what's going on in our realities. You know what I mean? We got to
And then
recognize.
I just want to make it kind of clear to everybody that, like, if you really look in the mirror, you'll really tell yourself, I don't really celebrate nothing but just buying a gift and receiving a gift and spending time with family. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's it. And
It-
why do we need an excuse to do that?
No, we don't. We could do that
Why do we
because
every
we
need
fucking day.
designated time to
Mm-hmm.
be allowed to do that?
You know what's
because
so
they
crazy?
programmed us to need permission to even
Exactly.
think about
Exactly.
this. The
That's
Exactly.
what's
It's like
crazy.
LGBTQ.
you're
If,
look, you can get together on July 4th. You can get
Yep.
together on Memorial Day, or what's the other the
Thanksgiving, Easter.
yeah,
Labor Day,
well, yeah.
Memorial Day,
Labor
There's
yeah,
Day.
there's 2 or 3 summer times that you're supposed to get together, and then you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, and you got New Year's, and then
Mm-hmm.
after that it's motherfucker balls to the wall. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Until the
Back
spring
to work
solstice
with
when
no
Jesus,
holidays.
yeah, until the
Yep.
spring solstice when Jesus supposedly rose again. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
then we're
Exact. So
back.
the summer
Then we're back
solstice.
to this shit. You know what I'm saying? And so then and that can't wait till we get to that either, because then gods
And
like
bro, think
Ishtar and a
about
bunch of
this,
other
man.
shit's gonna turn up.
What job these days that an average person is able to get and work gives Christmas bonuses?
Not no
Very
more. That
few.
shit don't exist no more.
You know
That
what
shit
I'm
was
saying? Like,
a
but
Can,
but
can,
how
can,
much money? But how much more money does every corporation make during Christmas? But they don't give
oh,
no
Billy,
Christmas bonus. Like,
Billy.
what the
hmm
fuck, man?
Let me ask you all this. Can I can I answer Kassan question, please? He said
Yeah.
we need permission to love our family. What the F? All right, check this out.
Yeah.
Do you know we have family that's lesbian and gay, right?
hmm
It took all the way from maybe over 100 years ago to the party of Barack Obama
hmm
for us to even start accepting and tolerating and loving our family that was that way.
Gay.
So they had
Yeah.
to actually give us permission
Yeah, it
to
was
love our family.
that.
They
Yeah,
had to understand this. The federal government has programmed us so well that
Hey,
we listen without even thinking.
and that's why the social construct has broken down to the point to where it's
it's either
non-existent
left
no
or
more.
right.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
then when if you come with questions, then you're crazy. You know what I mean? Like, and if you question it, then you're nuts. Or oh, you can't just let. See, the thing that I get the most is that, why don't you just let people celebrate? Well, who am I fucking stopping you? I'm not stopping you from fucking doing nothing, motherfucker. All I'm telling you is that why you giving your energy to some bullshit that you only do once a fucking year, when you could be like this all fucking year long. This is
Yeah,
Do
the
you
like
know
best
Stevie
version of
Wonder?
motherfuckers.
Stevie Wonder said, if you believe in things that you don't understand, then you suffer,
hmm
right?
You
We are suffering as a result of believing in Christianity that we really,
Hey,
truly don't
and they told
understand.
us, how to behave. They showed us with the Scrooge. This is how you behave all year
Exact.
long.
Charles
Not give a
Dickens.
fuck about nobody, and then on this day though, you be the best version of you that you could possibly fucking be. Like that shit
yeah.
don't make no motherfucking sense.
Charles
And then
Dickens, amen. You just
you got people that's putting the in debt situation even more in debt with credit cards.
Yep.
Like there ain't never been credit card debt like there is right now. And I know that sounds, blah blah blah, but that's some real shit, man.
Nah, the micro to the macro, brother. So the
Yep.
origin of this shit is so fucked up and twisted and and inverted and turned on its head that now we as humans just go out and consume in the name of giving, and nothing fucking changes. Like that
can
shit.
I say something
Listen,
real quick,
bro.
Jason?
If oh yeah, for sure.
We're so hypocritical as a
Yes.
people that we took R. Kelly and put him in prison and want to lock the door and throw away the key. But what about the priests that have
Mm-hmm.
been raping altar boys for centuries? We don't have that same energy when it
Mm-hmm.
comes, because if we don't like people being taken advantage of, then we should like none of it.
Right, hey, bro,
They're
they didn't snatch
hypocrites.
down them fucking sculptures and them statues that got the little boy sucking the priest's dick, from the
Exactly.
fucking walls in Rome, and you know what I'm saying, from the decorations and the water fountains and shit in Rome. They ain't take none of that shit down. You absolutely right, bro. Like when we go over, like actual Christmas trees and shit like that, that shit is some racist bullshit. There's songs and chants and shit that they got people going to carols, going to sing to people's houses that are fucking just not really appropriate for the type of situation that we claim this is. Like if we were really doing some good shit this year, right, or any year for the last
Hey, think
what
about
hundred
this.
and
Think about a mob of anybody, right? Going around from door to door with candles lit, singing fucking carols,
right.
songs. Like in all reality, that's a little strange
It's
just in
ritualistic.
itself. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Yo,
it's
see, Nova,
ritualistic
you be
behavior.
thinking, yo, that was crazy, but it's so true. Because if people not going just anybody's door 4 o'clock in the morning, you ain't
Hmm.
expecting them to be singing.
Nah.
No.
That's the last thing you're expecting.
And
Hmm.
all happy and shit too. Like that's just kind of
Yeah,
odd. You know what I'm saying? It's like
It's like
I
putting
ain't
yo,
telling people to be sad. I'm just saying.
nah, it is.
don't be
It's a
weird.
weird type of ritual, right? It's a weird type of ritual, just like the putting of the blood of the lamb over the door, or you know what I mean, like all that extra
or
shit.
or or saying that you're eating part of Christ's body and
Yeah,
drinking his blood.
Yeah, and drinking his blood. Yeah, come on, man.
yeah,
That
that's
shit
part
is
of the
weird,
part of the
man.
ritual. And then we gonna go sing. Then we gonna go sing these songs that have some shit.
Yo,
You know
see,
what I mean?
man.
Like,
And then
but like,
we
why? You gotta
expressing
ask yourself, what, like, why did that? How did that tie into this shit?
eggs. And think about this. Some of those
That
songs
don't
are
tie into no
perverted
motherfucking Jesus.
because they be talking about the
You know,
mistletoe. You supposed to kiss her. You ain't got to. You can't be representing that with kids getting under some damn
the mis
mistletoe.
the mistletoe, and oh my gosh, and then you got New Year's resolutions that go along with. Are we about to tear it up this month when it comes to what the fuck is this shit really about? You know what I mean? Like, and just ask yourself, what the fuck is it really about? And I know everybody's still gonna be compelled so much to quote unquote celebrate this type of fucking holiday. You know what I mean? It's in our stars. It's in the nature of us as humans to celebrate for some reason around this time of the
And
year.
then
And
you
then,
know what
like I
I'm gonna
said, when
have
you
to
find
come
out the
with though.
origins, you find out it's because we spent all year working. Yeah,
Eventually,
yeah.
bro, I'm gonna have to ask the question. Not right now, not for real. But eventually, I'm gonna have to ask: is where the fuck did this time schedule frame come from
Eh,
that
mm,
operates all of this shit?
oh yeah,
Ooh, wait.
oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
oh
Like
yeah.
January, February, March,
Yup.
it all comes from something
Yeah,
much
I
older
want
than
Megawatt to
religion.
be on here,
Exactly.
because that
The
13 number comes up
astrology.
again. Yeah, that
Yep.
13 number will come up again, and we know that there's a 13
12
constellation.
months. You know,
Like,
12 tribes, 12 months,
12.
12 apostles. This shit ain't coincidences. No.
It's not. And think about this. It's a concept all through the Bible. Jesus had
Yep.
12 disciples. Joseph had 12 brothers. There's
Hey,
12
12,
tribes. Like
12,
it
12.
but
continuously.
wait, guys, when you
It's
start reading those other books like the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Book of Solomon and all this other
12,
shit,
12,
then you find
12.
out there's
yeah,
13. There's 13 though. Oh, but we don't. Why
Yeah.
don't we talk about the 13th one, the 13th zodiac, the 13th brother Dan, the 13th fucking tribe? You know what I mean? The
Or the
13th
13th
fucking
apostle, Jesus.
yeah, yeah.
it-
Like we
That's
don't
like,
we don't
if you
talk
think
about
about
that.
it, bro, Jesus was the same thing
And this
as
number
any of those other
13, they
12
label it
apostles.
unlucky. You're right. He's still an apostle. He's part of
Right.
the, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, absolutely. Jesus was a fucking apostle.
because
And
even if he was the son of God, he was in human form,
facts.
just
And he
like
was the
everybody else.
just like
Yep.
everybody else. And he tell you that his goddamn self. For real, he'd be like, bro, I'm just like you. You know what I'm
And
saying?
then
Like
think about this, bro. Look, if God, per se, let his only son, per se, die, why? And he let that happen, right? They let that situation go on. Why the
Mhm.
fuck am I supposed to get mad about anything that somebody
bro,
says about anything about the
that's
religion or
why.
anything like that?
Bro, that's why
Wow.
you cannot serve the Christ. It, Benji says it
See,
best. They
that don't
serving
add
it
up. You know what I'm
because they
saying? It
serving
just
a
don't add
God
up.
that can't coexist with the truth and the Christ. Bro, you can't the God you cannot have an all-knowing, all-powerful, all-loving God all at once. One of them have to be a lie. Because if he's
No.
all-knowing, then he wouldn't let his son die for that. Then why if he's all-knowing, why create sin in the first place? You know what I'm saying? If he's all
Yeah, what
loving,
is this?
then
Just a big
why
fucking game?
why are kids being born blind and with cancer? You know what I mean? If he's all loving. You know what I mean? So it's like there's many questions. And you know what? I meant to bring this up earlier in the show, and I'll say it now. The reason why I question all of this shit was years ago when I first had my first child, and just listening to her talk and ask me these simple ass fucking questions like, if Santa Claus is real, how come I get presents but little Sherry don't get nothing?
Right.
If Jesus was born on this day, why, you know what I mean? Why da 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 da? Like, she asked me simple ass fucking questions that if you were to ask a pastor or any of these religious people who do celebrate or participate heavily in these type of holidays, they wouldn't even know how to answer the child. It's like ask that child that asked Buzz Aldridge or Buzz, Aldridge, why the fuck you ain't go back to the moon? He flat out had to tell the little girl because we ain't go.
Right.
So it's like, when you ask these simple ass questions, you know what I mean? Like, these are things that people do think about. I don't give a fuck. They may not, it may not seem like it. They don't want to talk about it because the subject is taboo, but they think about this shit. Like, why am I fucking hustling and bustling around this time of year to provide some presents for some spoiled ass motherfucking kids that's going to need new presents for the next year? Like,
Yeah,
niggas, this
some cheap,
logically don't
and
make no
most of
fucking
it's going to be
sense.
some, unless you get like some, unless you get something that's going to last a good while, like say like a bicycle or a computer or PlayStation or phone or like
Yeah.
some like sports equipment or the art equipment or any something like that. Most of this shit, some cheap ass shit anyway that ain't never going to get used more than a week or
Bruh.
two, bro.
All my kids played with the boxes on their first holidays. Like, it was so
Right?
important for us to do this shit for these kids, and then they didn't even play with the shit. And I was just like, you know what? I understand something now. I understand that this shit is not for me. You know what I mean? Like, I will gladly, when the new year comes around, get all my kids new shit, get
You
everything that
know
they fucking
why?
need,
Because the
just because they
motherfucker,
need it.
there's shit's on sale.
Yeah,
If I
yeah, but
can,
also,
I know that I know the whole Black Friday thing's a big bunch of bullshit. But you know what? There are
yep.
things that if you're smart, you can find some shit that's
Bro, all
like
you gotta
really
do
good
is
shit,
wait
bro.
till
Look,
fucking January, file your fucking taxes, and then go get your kids what the fuck they need for that year. You know what I'm saying? As simple as that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and everything is gonna be cheaper. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you
Yep.
can like these motherfuckers can play the game that they want to play because it's now become completely about the shekels, but they try to base it upon a
Me,
religious
what I
figures.
look
But
forward to, bro, is just the time just being able to spend with whoever the fuck me and my wife decide to spend it with. Since my daughter is about the house, it's like we just do whatever, man. And during this time is awesome because we get to fucking cook like crazy. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
have those like
you
them.
know what I look forward to every time this year is the fact that of what I said earlier that everybody, or strangers even, let's just say, let's put it like that, people not in my circle or strangers, they are the best version of themselves around this time of the year. There's more conversations just in general in public with all of the
Yep.
NPCs that we talked about for the glitch in the matrix. Like all the NPCs get an upgrade around this time of year for some reason. They're not rude. Traffic doesn't, you know what I mean? So I look forward just into what that programming that they've gotten that makes them uh optimal, better human, just for this,
Right.
these fucking 30 days. You know what I mean? Like that's all I look forward to. And they try to now just try to dispel all of the Merry Christmas. Like, no, thank you. You know what I mean? Like, happy solstice to you too. Whatever the fuck you want to say, but you know what I mean. They
Right.
try to dispel all the spells, but because I'm what I do every year is just in the beginning of the year we don't celebrate none of this shit. Obviously, all the grandparents and shit, they're old school. You know what I mean? They're like, I don't give a fuck what you guys do. I'm still gonna buy these kids. Like, I can't stop you from doing what the fuck. Go ahead, buy them whatever the fuck they want to do.
Right.
That's
Yep.
your fucking choice. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I get a list from my kids and we sit down and we talk about a budget and what they fucking need to get them through the fucking year. And that's what we sit down and talk about. And they give me and we talk about and we get that list together and then I execute for in January in the beginning of the fucking year. When they fucking needed the fucking most. You know what I'm saying? Like not around this time. Not around this time of the year where you know what I mean. It's just the beginning of the winter. It's not really It's to me. It's stupid to spend a whole bunch of money right now. Like it always fucks you up. Y'all don't every time, bro. Like y'all don't. It's the same cycle every fucking time. You done worked your ass off and then you splurge so much that you don't reserve anything
You know
for.
what, man? I can honestly, and I mean, I'm just gonna be dead ass serious. I don't mean to hurt no feelings, but I have never ever been in that position. Not because I'm like I've been
Yeah, that's
rich my
good.
whole life or something like. I just don't believe in the shit. Maybe because I wasn't raised in believing in
Right,
it. You know what I mean? I didn't even celebrate it. It wasn't even around me. So maybe that's it. But even as an adult, like I said, like I
right.
like we're going to go on like an actual Christmas vacation this year. You know what I'm saying? Just because there's a group of people that family that wants us to come there,
Right,
and we're like, fuck it.
right.
So we're gonna go stay at this person's house. We're gonna go stay with these people 3 days, and then we're gonna get a hotel for 2 days, and then we're gonna stay at this other person's house for the last day, and then we're gonna come home. So for a full week, we're gonna bang it out. You know what I mean? But like, other than that type of shit, I
Right,
just don't see myself going around and really
right. See, but
celebrating
that's a
this.
whole different ball game.
Right. Yeah, yeah, I know. I'm saying, but like that's the way
Nah,
that
me
I
neither. I mean,
participate
because like I could get my kids,
because
I,
people are like, "Look, we're going
yeah,
to
and I
be
could get
off
my
work.
kids the things
We're
that
going to
they
be in
need.
town. If y'all could come visit us, that would be great." And I'm like, "Well, shit, man. We might as well do it this year." You know what I mean?
Yeah, and for me, it's more like I can get my kids the things that they need as they need them. Like, there's no reason for me to be like, okay, well, because it's this celebration of
Right.
something that I don't even really participate or
Yeah.
know if it's
Bro,
truth or not.
I
You
would
know what I
get my
mean?
daughter Christmas gifts, but it wouldn't be like, "Oh, wake up on Christmas morning and open it."
Yeah.
You know, like she
And
did
my daughter
that
was
maybe
born on
like
December 23rd, so it's like I celebrate that. My daughter was my eldest was born
right.
on December, so like I got a
Right.
reason to celebrate around this time because my baby was born on the 23rd. You know what I mean? But other than that, like there's no reason,
Yeah.
like you said, there's no reason for it. There's no reason for me to go
No.
spend the extra
I
funds or
mean,
anything
my
like that.
My daughter
because
got
I could take
stuff.
those funds though, bro, and we could fucking do something dope like an NFT project or some shit. You know what I mean? And then turn that fucking little bit of money that I fucking had to make the shit happen or to pay for the gifts to turn that into even better celebration for them their next birthday or or
Exactly.
whatever. You know, here's a car. My daughter's about to get her license. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Like,
Because you know what? All those movies, when those grown adults are thinking back and they're like, oh, I remember when I was 9 years old and we didn't have Christmas and it was so bad. That's not real. Nobody remembers back when they were 9 years old and remembers that they didn't have Christmas that year or they didn't have good gifts or whatever. Man, get the fuck out of here. People don't even remember hardly nothing about their childhood, especially one year that was they didn't get what gifts they want. If you do remember that shit, then you too materialistic and you need to get the fuck on anyway. You know what I mean? I mean, seriously, bro. Like,
yeah. I
because
remember
at that
I
point,
remember times
it's
it was, you know what I mean,
because think
like
about it. At that point, bro, how did you have such a bad quote unquote Christmas if you didn't get gifts? What about the
right,
actual holiday and
right,
celebration of who you believe in is
right.
God's son?
Even even when, you know what I mean, like even when I was younger and even when I didn't get as much shit or my mom was like, oh, you only getting this for Christmas or whatever like that, I still had a blast during that time because as an only child I wanted somebody to fucking play with, and that was a time where we spent weeks around fucking my all my cousins. You know what I'm saying? So it was
Exactly.
like for a motherfucker like me, it might have been like, all right, whatever. I only got, you know, some clothes and some shoes and some shit, but whatever. Let's go over here to Aunt Tiny's. I'm trying to fucking have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
that's what it was, you know, for me. So it's like you might be salty as a kid. Like you probably remember being salty that you didn't get what you wanted or specifically what you asked for. But when you find out at a young age, like all my kids did, that none of this shit's even real, then
Because I
you
look
go to
back and
find
I'm
out
like,
like
well, I didn't celebrate Christmas one time, and I don't
right,
regret it. I don't even give a
right.
fuck. I'm not like, oh, my whole childhood was screwed.
Yeah, and you know, there's some people who do that. They definitely do, and it's to the point where these motherfucking people buy presents on all the holidays. Easter, these kids are getting their
Yeah.
Thanksgiving basket. What the fuck a Thanksgiving basket, bitch? I ain't
Yeah.
never heard of no fucking Thanksgiving basket. Well, yeah, you put
Right.
all the shit in. No, bitch, that's some made up bullshit. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
like the fucking Valentine's Day and shit like that. Like all that shit. And I can't wait. We're gonna do. Oh man, every time that shit's coming around, we're gonna have origin stories. We're gonna have all of that deep shit. You just want to figure out, like, man, is this something that I really want to participate in? And if it is, do it your way. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
do it. Don't you don't got to put up a fucking Christmas tree and shit. Once we go
Or
into that
you
shit,
or keep doing it the way however way you want to do it. But we're just gonna let you know where it came from.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? And so
yeah,
then if you learn that, everything I was told about this or everything I thought I knew is actually not true,
yeah.
then you still got the free will of choosing what to do with that.
What
You
to
know what I
do?
mean?
Yeah. So just know, you know what I mean? Santa, Santa, you know what I mean? It has origins in some bullshit. You know, you
If
go
you
back
don't
Saint.
like Satan,
Yeah,
right, then
right.
you need to take a look at what Santa really came from.
Absolutely. And you should know. You might not want to tell your kids that. You know what I mean? A 300-pound white man breaks into your house and leaves you fucking gifts. You know what I'm saying? Like you might not want to perpetuate that. You might want to give your kid the truth a little early. You might want to fucking kind of well try to understand why. So like you know like this is supposed to be because of your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Is it really that though? Like
Right. It
what
doesn't
really
really have
happened
any
there?
fucking thing to do with it. Did
Right,
Jesus ever mention Santa?
right. Did Jesus
Right?
ever
Like,
did Jesus tell
what
us
did
to
Jesus
celebrate his
ever say?
birthday?
What was Jesus ever like? Look, all right, I'm gonna be dead and gone, but check this out. This dude named Santa is gonna basically take over my
uh,
birthday,
hey,
and he's gonna bring you some shit if you're good.
hey, and he didn't
He
even
didn't say
say
that.
He didn't even say celebrate my birthday every year.
No.
He didn't even say. He didn't say. So and that's not in any religious text. And then let's go back a little further, and you'll be like, okay, so before Christ, what was they doing? Oh, Saturnalia. Oh, what the fuck is Saturnalia? Let me Google Saturnalia. Oh, okay. Well, what were they doing before Saturnalia? Oh, they were just having a party to celebrate the
Right. Getting
good
drunk,
harvest.
getting naked.
Right, you know what I mean? Oh, okay. Well, then, or let's go back further than that. Oh, it's really just the worship of the fucking
Dirt.
sun and the trees and the
Right.
motherfucking goddamn fucking Saturn god and planets. That's really all it's just a worship of. And then
Yep.
you'd be like, well, damn, well, what's that? And then you realize that you're all of that shit. You're the planets. You're the sun. You're the stars. You're the moon. You're all of that shit.
Yep.
So
And then maybe you're like, well, shit. You know what? Instead of buying all them other people something, I'm finna go buy myself something.
buy myself something. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna worship
Why?
me today.
Because I deserve it. I made it through another year without
Yes.
really nobody's help.
Yes, sir. You know what I mean? So it's like, we to break it all down, you know what I mean? It takes a lot, and then there's a lot of responsibility that we have to take because then we feel like we have to change. I'm not saying for y'all to go to Christmas dinner and tell everybody y'all motherfuckers is getting these presents from Krampus and they sucking y'all souls.
Right?
I'm not telling y'all to do that. I'm not telling y'all to fuck it all up for your other people around you. All I'm saying is take a good look at the origin of this, and together we'll take this trip through this month of December, the 12th month.
Right?
And we'll kind of
12.
figure out why everything is the way that it is. And then, like Nova said, you can make the conscious decision for yourself to,
Yeah.
participate in it or to make your own tradition. That's what I say.
And
We
at
got a
least you
program.
got a spot where you can come and you can find out the origins of just about fucking anything, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Hey.
but we got about 30 seconds, I think. So
Yeah, we started a
I'll
little
say
early.
we're gonna be off tomorrow, but we'll be back Friday, 12 p.m. or I'm sorry, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with
Yep.
Fire Music Friday.
Got a new track jumping called Vanta Black. It's a short and sweet, you know what I mean? Short and sweet one, but we're going to keep them coming. A new track every Friday. Go check us out at thinkhighshop.com. The music is rolling. Thank you to G Kong for his playlisting and shit. Had a great Spotify wrap up for the end of the year. We up 40% listener wise for the whole year compared to last year. So appreciate everybody for supporting the Think High crew. Soto, and yeah, we'll catch y'all motherfuckers on Friday for Fire Music Friday. That's all I gotta say. No.
I'm trying to end it. I don't know what's going on.
Sound like a mic drop. The infamous mic drop. I don't know. But they got us trapped in the matrix.
Yeah, we are. We're trapped in the internet. We can't get off. They won't let me get off. Oh God. All right. I'm gonna have to just force feed this motherfucker.
All right, y'all.
All right, man.
Yep.